When it comes to assessing the buildings, what the animals need is shelter. And so really what we need to sort of understand is, what do we define by shelter? And then the other thing that's very important is hygiene. You know, a lot of potential to improve the way we manage hygiene. So if we come back to the shelter bit, then really we're talking about protection from the wind, but we must keep that fresh air coming in and out of the system. So it doesn't matter what the materials are, the target is to reduce airspeed whilst maintaining ventilation. The second thing about ventilation is how much moisture there is around the place, because it is absolutely essential for managing calf pneumonia that we get moisture under control, because that's part of what ventilation is doing. It's delivering fresh air into the building, but it's also removing heat, moisture and bugs. The building could be ventilated well by the wind, but all calf housing needs mechanical ventilation, because we get to the point that obviously when the wind does not blow, there can be no fresh air entering the building, and therefore we don't get the dirty air and the moisture leaving the building. In this building here, it's a mechanical ventilation system where we're blowing air in under pressure and distributing it along the length of the building through a series of holes all the way down the tube. At the back, we can see we've got panels over the top of the pen divisions. What it does mean is that if we do get a wind coming through the spaceport there and created an elevated airspeed, they've got somewhere to go and hide. You can see even today the movement of the straw hanging down there. That's an indication that at that height there, the ventilation is a higher airspeed than is required. Whereas down below, at the base level down there, you can see there's no air movement on that straw base at all. That's just excellent. Temperature in our climate is a bit of a double-edged sword, because all our cattle are kept in buildings where effectively the temperature is what it is outside. But one of the things that we can improve on greatly is to understand the relationship between temperature and water, moisture, because water makes things not only unhygienic when it's lying around on the floor, but also cold. So we're looking to get control of the amount of moisture in the building. It's vital to have floors that slope correctly, to have good drains like we have here, that actually keeps all the moisture in one place and drains out into the rest of the building. So again, whether we're talking about systems, whether they're like hutches or large buildings like we have on the farm here, it absolutely doesn't matter, as long as we have good hygiene, control of airspeed, keep the moisture under wraps, and then finally temperature. To finish up on temperature, what can we do for when the temperatures drop and we're trying to deal with young stock? It's important to get the nutrition right, and actually for younger cattle we can always increase the concentration of energy in diets to basically keep animals warm from the inside. We can also use heat lamps, we can also use jackets. What we should be doing is assessing our systems also at different times of the year to pick out the weaknesses and finding simple solutions as to what we can do to control it. Whether it's a few Heston bales put in the way, certain times of the year, higher concentrations of feed, maybe some localized protection. Putting shelter in a pen is a tried and tested method of making things work. I think to finish off on hygiene here, we have the drinkers, which is very easy for them to be cleaned, just a flick, almost literally a flick of the switch. Provision of feed. One of the difficulties of the calf machines is that, of course, they're a focal point of all the animals to share the feed ingredients, the feed stance. And so it's very important that this area is easy to clean and kept clean. That usually requires local drainage so that the expected increase in urine soaks away. We're probably looking at a slope around here of 1 in 20 on the floor, whereas the rest of the floor will manage fine with 1 in 60. Drinker provision, again, absolutely essential. Even if you have automatic feeding, liquid feed, that's essential to have good, clean water drinkers. In terms of dry feed, what we're looking for is, especially when they're young, is food to be given little and often, because that's a very good way of monitoring how much food they're taking in and what's normal. And also then onto the provision of forage. Access is important, having feed available in terms of forage at the right height, the right quantities. It just adds to the positive aspects of the whole energy distribution within the system.